Hey humans, how's it going? Susan Ruth here. Thanks for listening to another episode of Hey Human Podcast. This is episode 435, and my guest is Alex Brito, diagnosed with something called Neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder, otherwise known as NMOSD. It's a rare condition. It attacks the central nervous system, known for giving severe, unpredictable vision loss, chronic pain, paralysis, any number of things. For anybody that knows anything about autoimmune disorders like rheumatoid arthritis or MS, or it can attack a body in a myriad of ways depending on the person. She had a misdiagnosis, vision loss, temporary paralysis. Alex remains an incredibly strong powerhouse of a human. She's passionately committed to helping those with disabilities. She teaches adaptive technology to people with vision loss, and she maintains an active lifestyle. She's a power lifter, which is badass, and she's the first blind woman to earn a yellow belt in Krav Maga. I really enjoyed talking with Alex. I'm excited for you to hear this episode. Check out heyhumanpodcast.com for links and to learn more about my guests and the show. Hey Human Podcast is on YouTube under Official Susan Ruth. I'm on Patreon at Susan Ruthism. My TikTok and Instagram is also Susan Ruthism. Check out susanruth.com to learn more about me and my other artistic endeavors. And you can find my music, my albums on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever you get your music. Rate, review, and subscribe to Hey Human Podcasts on Apple, iHeart, and Spotify podcast places or wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you for listening. Be well, be kind, be love, and here we go. Alex Brito, welcome to Hey Human.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Welcome, welcome. Let's jump right in. Tell me where you're from and what shaped you as you were growing up.
So I'm from California, the Central Coast, San Luis Obispo County, in a little town called Oceano. I've lived here pretty much all my life. I did move away for 1 year in Missouri, but
that must have been culture shock.
Yeah, definitely. Especially as a teenager, we moved right when I was a teen, and I enjoyed it, but definitely different. We came back because my niece was born, so first grandbaby in the family. Mom wanted to be back, which was okay. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and we've just grown up close all our lives. I have my mom and dad still in the picture with me. They've raised us, to be just, education, sports. So our sports of choice was baseball and softball.
Did you play in high school?
No, I didn't get to, because by that point I was, dealing with the effects of NMO. But I did do color guard. I was the first legally blind student to do color guard for the high school, which was really cool.
That is really cool. Did your vision go all the way right away, or was it a slow progression?
It was a slow progression. So it started when I was 12. My journey with my vision loss and NMO actually started at 12, back in 97. And I just lost it gradually by 2003.
How does one come to terms with something like that at the very beginning? And I understand you were misdiagnosed at first.
Yeah. So it started when I was 12. And, that's when NMO wasn't a thing. It was, I believe, being researched at the time, but not an actual disease that's been declared that I know of. At 12, that was hard. That was hard to wake up one day with no vision in one eye and just not know what's going on. They initially thought it was a virus, where I was treated with some, medications to hopefully help bring the vision back, which didn't do anything. And then again, a few months later, I had another attack on my body, which were different symptoms, meaning, it affected, this time it was pain in my neck, and I felt sunburnt and tremors. And that's where I finally got, I guess, what we thought was the answer to my problems, because I did a scan, and it showed some scarring in my spinal cord and optic nerves, and that's where I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Um, I really didn't understand what it was, but I knew it was something serious because I knew my mom, just how she reacted, crying. But we just went ahead and did whatever treatment plans we needed at that time for me to hopefully get better, which they didn't seem to help, because I did have an attack, which, on my body every 3 months. So it was something different every time. It was, more vision loss or paralysis. And by the time 2003 came around, I was completely blind and paraplegic.
When you are one of 4 children in a household that's especially close, as you say yours was, I can't even begin to imagine that for a young child anyway, but then the focus of the household has to turn to you for all importance because of the extra support you would need, and both physically and mentally. What did everybody come together? Did it cause issues in the family unit?
So that's a really good question. It was a lot. It was a lot to take on, as far as being, this teenager, wondering why me, and then me feeling, that jealousy. I guess that's the worst I could say now, of they get to do everything still, and I'm limited, but I'm still trying to do as much as I can, because they never put pity on me. They never showed pity on me. I could say that. And my siblings helped, and they never were like, "Well, that's not fair. I can't. Why do I have to?" They've never did that. But I always felt bad. I guess at the point when I was paralyzed, I think that's what really affected me the most, because they had to help me change, my Depends, or empty out my commode, and they really had to grow up fast. And sorry, I didn't realize that was going to affect me.
It's a big deal, yeah.
But I'm just so thankful that I had and still have the love and support from them. They don't, you know, ever make me feel any different. They're just like, okay, well, what do you need, sis? Or, and they'll, especially my sister. My sister and I are very, very close. If I, get tired, she's like, well, I told you, you should have ordered this, or, but she's always looking out. And I'm just really thankful that they, again, really never treated me different and encouraged me to grow up as regular as I could be. And my parents, too. They never cried in front of me to show that they were hurting. No one ever did.
Did they allow for you to have all your feelings, the big feelings that would come with this? Or did they say, suck it up,
They did, but they did that too, but in an encouraging way. Because I believe, and I know it's because they didn't want me to fall in that
Yeah.
My life is over. Because I remember when I was 13 going to a support group for MS, and the ladies, it was a women's group. They were all in their 50s, older, but it was that, why me? This is my poor life, and it really traumatized me. So my mom's like, we're not going back, because that's not what she wanted for me in a bad way, but it was like, that's what she didn't want me to think life was going to be like.
Right.
And so it was just, never give up. We just got to keep moving and do what we have to, and hopefully things get better.
When the right diagnosis finally was given to you, that must have been one heck of a relief on one point. I mean, that's a weird thing to say about any kind of rare disease, but is this a mutation on a gene? Is this just by chance that one day you're walking along and some virus hits and then your body reacts to it? Could you explain a little bit about it?
So NMO, Neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder, so NMOSD. I always forget to put that SD in there. It's a disease attacking my immune system, and it affects the optic nerves and spinal cord. And that's the simplest way I can describe it, and it can affect everyone differently. Not everyone gets the same attacks on their body. And some people may just have one relapse, and some people, it can just continue affecting them. And that's why there's so many treatments out there that in hopes that, what one treatment may not work for me, it may work for someone else in slowing down the progression of the disease.
That makes it quite complicated, I suppose, the fact that it does manifest in so many different ways, because how do you treat something unilaterally that doesn't have a favorite pathway?
Right.
Yeah. What do you feel about the word disability? I know that some people really don't like that. They say differently abled. Some people are fine with disability. What is that word? What does it feel like to you?
I guess I'm fine with it. I've never been asked. It's a disability. It's just a word, I guess you'd say. I've never thought of it any differently.
Yeah. And you're completely blind?
Yes, I'm completely blind. And so when I was re-diagnosed, I mentioned I was completely blind and paraplegic. And that's when I was put in a new treatment plan. And that new treatment actually had me walking within the year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm walking, and I did have a little flare up in 2020, which affected my legs again. But I'm still walking. I did, some more treatments, and I do have a little bit of a side effect, my little drag on my leg, but I'm still moving around, which I'm thankful. And my mom keeps telling me this. She goes, I always think it's weird. Not think it weird, but to see the doctor's reactions when I would be asked, if you could get one thing back, your vision or your legs, what would you want? My legs. And she says they always have that reaction like, huh? Because I'm thankful. I'm very thankful that I've been able to see up until I was 18. I'm very thankful for that, so that I know what colors are. I know what my family looks like. But walking, that was a hard one. That was to have that taken from being able to move and play sports.
And just to have that autonomy, probably, of being able to move around.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
I read an article a while back now, neuroscientists that had worked on a receptor that I believe it was brain implanted, and then the receptor came out and sat on the tongue, and it acts in a way, sort of the way the optic nerve would act, in that it allows for images to be received by the brain for what the surroundings are. It's really fascinating. Have you read about?
Yeah, I have.
You probably read Braille, yes?
Slowly. Before I was reading pretty fast, and then I lost some sensation there. But yeah, I can read it very slow. I actually use screen reading programs.
Oh, great.
So yeah,
sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did read that, and it was very interesting. There was also, I think, an implant, like a camera, that would come out like the side of your head or something. And it's amazing on what they're trying to do.
And within your lifetime, within my lifetime, there may be, even though you say as long as you can walk, you're fine, but there may be advances such that you will be able to see again.
Yeah.
Does that feel like false hope, or is that something you look forward to, so to speak?
I look forward to it, and it's one of those things I've always said. It's, if my miracle was to come to get my vision, but someone else needed that miracle first, by all means, I'll go back to the end of the line because I'm content, and I know some people may think that's kind of weird to hear, but I am. I'm very content with my life. I don't get me wrong. There are moments where it's like, oh, I wish I could just open up a book and read the pages, see and read the pages, or really know what my family looks like now because I just get my AI generated screen uh, picture describers now that tell me what pictures look like.
Well, I am sort of tan and flushed cheeks. I have black hair with fringy bangs, and I'm wearing a gray sweatshirt and a pink t-shirt. And I have big teeth.
Thank you for the description. I really appreciate that. And I love that more people are doing that. Just that little description because it just helps. It's just that, okay. And you get a general idea.
Mm-hmm. When you dream, are your dreams quite vivid?
I can see in my dreams,
Mm.
but I know in my dreams I'm blind.
Oh, that's an interesting twist.
Yeah, it's so weird because I know I'm blind in my dream, but I can see in my dreams.
Do you have a deep faith? Do you believe in God? Is spirituality a part of your life, or do you have those kind of conversations? Were you ever mad? If you do believe in God, were you ever mad at God?
No, I was never mad at God, and I did grow up. I do believe in God, and I was raised Catholic, and I mean I don't attend church, but I do believe and I do pray. I was just never mad. It was just that why me kind of just always asked that. I just knew there was a reason, and I've heard that from people. There's a reason why this happened to you, but I guess just my reason now I believe is just to keep living my life and showing people that no matter my situation, I'm just going to keep pushing forward.
Yes. Do you want children someday? And if so, is this a genetic component that concerns you?
Oh, you're going to be crying again. So I've been trying. I've always wanted children, but my husband and I have had no luck, and we don't know. Uh, I don't know if it's NMO related or just fertility issues in both of us. Unfortunately, we can't afford those type of treatments, but
Sure.
I would have loved to. I'm going to be turning 40 this year.
Still young.
Yeah. And so I know it's one of those, and my clock is ticking, but I would love to have children. And my sister did offer herself to be our surrogate when we're ready. So we're ready, but it's just one of those, okay, now,
Yeah.
now how to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. How'd you meet your husband?
Actually, we met on a party line. So I don't know if you ever heard those, like a dating app, but you just call in a number and talk to people. And yeah, and it was just one of those. I was getting ready to go take some exams. I was in community college by then, and he happened to be on there. And we connected, sent a couple messages, and been together 16 years.
Oh,
So,
wow. What's the
yeah.
secret?
Well, we took actually a whole year to meet. We only lived about 20 minutes apart, but we talked every day. And it's really been a journey. There's been moments where it's not perfect and it's still a work in progress till
That's every
to today.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be concerned if anyone ever said their relationship was perfect, that they
No.
weren't
And
actually living in a real
yeah.
relationship.
So, but it's just, he's been great. When I told him I was blind, he's like, okay. And he knows all my issues that I have, whether they're embarrassing, that I thought were embarrassing, but he's never made me feel shamed of, incontinence issues or feeling that, I'm hurting today. He's been supportive in that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's something that you wish people knew about what it's like to be blind and to be in a place of disability, even just in anything?
Being blind, it's mhm. Being blind. Let's see, not not so scary. It's not as bad as it was when I first started. And I say that because the advancement in technology is amazing. I actually teach the blind how to use assistive technology. So, screen readers and being able to use, an iPhone with the screen reader and be on social media. It's so much more advanced today than it was when I first started my vision loss journey, because there was really nothing. There was barely the internet,
Yeah. I don't think the world is very receptive sometimes to people with disabilities, if not a lot of times. It's just not a world set up to accommodate people that are anything other than whatever the quote norm is. Even though we all are eventually, probably if we live long enough, will face a disability, it's something that seems to be mostly ignored for the most part.
Yeah, that is true. There is still a lot of work in progress, like you said, accommodating for people with disabilities out there. But just, if there's an issue, bring it up, talk to people, and just be mindful that a person with a disability isn't someone to be pitied on, but just someone to reach out to and see if, what they can do to make things better is a big help. Very, very big, big help. As simple as offering a menu in Braille, or holding a door open for someone that might be struggling a little if they need it. But one thing is, don't go up and grab a person. I've had someone try to grab my arm before, and let me take you across the street. And I appreciate that, but in that moment, I'm counting my steps. I'm listening to my surroundings to know when to cross the street, and that could be a dangerous situation as well.
Also, super vulnerable place to have just somebody come and grab at you, even if they have good intentions.
Yeah.
You don't know that. You can't read someone's face or body language.
Yeah, and I've had some training in martial arts, so I've had that learning to know those when someone's grabbing you. Okay, don't react in a self-defense mode, but
Yeah, I read that you do Krav Maga.
yeah, so I've done Krav Maga. I have a yellow belt in Krav Maga.
Badass, yeah.
Love it. Oh yeah, it is one of the best experiences I've had. Just doing that and getting that certification in 8 months of training.
I imagine you actually have, in some ways, more of a leg up because you do probably have extra skills in listening and sensing things that we who can see take for granted because we think that the one sense is all we need. Do you find that you end up teaching others about the other senses more than they maybe knew about for themselves?
Maybe they pick it up, but I'll always explain, and it is true, I do feel those different senses where if someone's by me, it's a pressure I feel. And then my reaction is my hands are a lot faster. That was something that was noticed during Krav training. He's like, wow, you're really fast in reacting. And just listening, that was something I did pick up. And I was actually talking with my husband the other night about remembering growing up, and my mom would say, yeah, you would say Dad's home, and he would, roll up in the car like 3 or 4 minutes later because I could hear his car. Could hear his car. And they're like, well, he's not home, and then there he comes, 3 minutes later.
Does that also work with hearing people's voices and hearing what's actually being said behind what's being said? Do you find that you pick up on that more?
No, I've never paid attention to that, actually. I'll have to go pay attention to that.
Just because so many people say things, but they're thinking other things. I just wondered if there was maybe an inflection that you pick up on.
Yeah, you can pick that up, but I've never thought of it as, maybe a blind thing or not. Because you can, pick up on tones.
I'm not blind, so all I can do is ask. Is that it just seems like it would hypersensitize every other aspect of your being.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that when I'm in a very, very dark room, the first thing I do in order to maneuver that dark room, let's say I have to get up to pee or something in the middle of the night, the first thing I do is shut my eyes. And as soon as I shut my eyes, I can navigate the room.
To get that, I guess, that sense of direction, you do that.
I mean, I think it's that, and I think it just, when your eyes close, the rest of your senses get more heightened.
Mm-hmm.
It's a theory. That's what it feels like to me. Like suddenly, as you said, you almost feel what's around you without even touching it. You sense it there, like a bat, like echolocation or something.
And actually, I do that when I read. Well, my mom says always have my eyes closed, and I say I keep them closed so I don't get wrinkles. but when I read, I actually do close my eyes so I could picture it in my head.
So you're deciding to go to school and now help people. Was that a no-brainer?
I've always gone to school. I didn't finish. I only have like a few credits for my community college. I've always wanted to do massage therapy. And there was a school here, and I'm enrolled with Department of Rehab, and they help people with disabilities get, education or for careers. And they offered, to pay for my schooling. And the local school I had here just wouldn't take me in. Nope. You need someone certified to help you in the class. I did that. Nope, we can't do this. Whatever they threw at me, I was able to, yes, I can do this. I can do it the way you guys want. But it was the vision thing they didn't see past. So that was discouraging. And when I had gotten just another evaluation for some new technology, the person who actually did my evaluation, Paul, he said, "Hey, he got a new client. He goes, you want to teach him how to use? It's called JAWS. It's a screen reader that we put on our computers, and it reads everything to us, allowing us to navigate." And I said, "Sure," just jokingly. He goes, "No, really. Would you like to teach him?" And I said, "Okay." And started there, and then I enrolled in a school for the blind that's in Arkansas, and did my training for a year as an assistive technology instructor. And so I just graduated here in September with all my
Congrats.
certifications. Thank you. But it's just been so gratifying. It's been really so gratifying because I've worked with all different ages, and just that, oh, okay, I can check my email now. I can go online and shop. It's just been so fulfilling. Fulfilling. Yeah, and it's just, I guess this is what I was meant to do. I love it. It's a lot of work. I'm on the computer all day and then studying at night because I'm continuing my education with CADIS. It's a certified assistive technology instructor specialist. So it's a master's level program, and and so it's just a lot of work, but it is paying off.
Yeah, that's really lovely to give back also. Absolutely. Do you have a service animal?
Yes, I have Pawnee. She's my second guide dog. She's a black lab, and my first one was Samantha.
Oh,
And so two different personalities. Miss Samantha walked around sassy and classy. We strut our stuff on the campus, and Miss Pawnee, she's a little rocket, just full of energy and really, really fast. Well, I say really fast, but I'm just so grateful for even being able to get a service animal
yeah.
and have that sense of freedom.
When the animals come to you, I know that they come trained, but then you add your own kind of whatever you need on top of that? Is that how that works?
So we have to be quote unquote cane certified using our white canes, and they come and evaluate us to make sure we know how to navigate, cross streets, walk in different terrains. Is that the word? And making sure we can keep up with the amount of care that these dogs have. So then we're flown out to the school or drive out to the school and get 2 weeks of training. I went to Guide Dogs for the Blind, and it's 2 weeks of pretty much intense training, 6 a.m. till about 10 o'clock, working with your dog, waking up, feeding them, grooming them, walking, and, taking some courses. They offer like little lecture series and stuff like that, but it's just a really hands-on experience with your dog and showing that you can do it.
Do they assign the dog to you? Do you go through a litter and say, that one?
Oh, no. So it's a process. They interview you, they get to know your personality. You can put in a request of what type of dog you want. It can make your waiting a little longer. But again, it's the personality. And then when you're there on campus, they evaluate you with how fast you walk, how fast you would like your dog to go. And then they have a certain amount of dogs that have gone through certain phases of the training. So I think phase 8 is they're ready to be assigned to a person. So Bonnie was just one of those bunches, of dogs waiting to be assigned. And my instructor said, I know the dog for you. I think you can handle her because she's a little diva. She can be rambunctious and she likes to push, see how far she can get.
Do the animals stay with you until they pass away? How does that, because I know that when I lost my dog, Mikey, it was probably the biggest pain I've ever felt in my whole life. Do the dogs go back as elderly dogs to the places they come from? How does that work?
So after a year, they're yours. Well, and I say that, within that first year, if you mistrain them, they can pull the dog, say, this isn't a safe environment for the dog. But after the year, you can keep your dog up until they're passing. Some dogs, might need a career change, and depending on your living situation, you can return the guide dog, and they'll find a dog, someone to adopt them. But if not, Guide Dogs for the Blind, they will care for your dog up until the last, the end of their life. And so that was really hard, putting my Samantha down.
Yeah.
My first dog. Yeah. And I know the feeling you're going through. It's a very painful feeling.
It's really painful. Yeah. It seems unfair that dogs live such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm glad you got a new love bug, though. It's good.
Yeah, she's so much fun. She's just a big puppy, and I'm just really thankful that, they know work time, they know play time, and no matter what, they love you. They just get excited the moment I cross that street, and it's like, yes. And I do get excited and do a little cheer and good girl, and they just know.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah. They don't have guide cats, do they? That's not
No. They're working on guide ponies. I know there's some guide miniature ponies.
Oh, wow.
I'll say what would.
Harder to get into a cab with a pony.
Yeah. So I think that, ponies. I think I haven't heard any other one. Oh, there's actually a robot guide dog they're showing around right now.
Really?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't think I would want one, but there is guide robot dogs.
I mean, I get the appeal of that, I suppose, but it's not the same.
No. Like, what if it malfunctions?
Yeah,
in the middle
too.
of the road. You're like, ah.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose a dog can malfunction too, but it just doesn't feel the same. I was thinking also earlier about what you were talking about, AI being able to say what you're reading or what you're looking at and all that. And this is the only thing, in my humble opinion, that AI should be used for, because I'm a creative, and it terrifies me to think that AI is coming for the jobs when AI is so well suited for helping in so many ways. And it just seems like people want to take it and have it, do all these other things.
Oh, yeah. No, I I agree. Like with JAWS or Fusion, the screen readers, we use keystrokes to make the commands happen on the keyboard. And
Mhm.
now JAWS just did this FSAI companion update, so people can ask it, what's the keystroke? I'm like, oh God, I'm out of a job before.
Oh,
before
yeah. Oh, well, that's a good point,
yeah,
too.
like oh no.
Ah,
um,
robots.
yeah, robots everywhere. What else? I also pet sit, and the people I pet sit just got those little robots. So I go, scoop the litters, and I'm like, oh God, now the litter robots are trying to take my job.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh no.
I imagine California is really good about supporting, of all the states, California has got to be at the top for helping provide industry and stability for disabled peoples.
Yeah, the service has been really good here. Uh, as far as now, with Department of Rehab getting services and just different centers popping up, it has been pretty good, and when there's a will, there's a way, and trying to find out those resources.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if people have any questions for you, is there a good way to reach out?
I haven't created a website or anything yet, but I'm hoping to. Would love to share the film a couple patients and I were involved in, if
Let's talk
that's
about
okay.
that.
Yeah. So I did a film with Alexion. It's called Rare Connections in NMOSD. And it's just a few of us, patients with NMO, again, Neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder, and just sharing our journeys. And so you can actually find that video on YouTube called Rare Connections in NMOSD. And it's a pretty powerful short film. And I'm just really thankful that I've been able to do that.
Are you touring that through festivals or anything?
Yeah, so it's been put in a few. I know it was put in a festival that just debuted or showed last month, and I believe they're just Alexion's trying to get it out in more places. It has been recognized for being a pretty impactful video. It's
Great.
received some awards, and
Yay.
I'm just really glad to be able to have a part of that and share my story and spread awareness on NMO.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll put
Mhm.
links to that on heyhumanpodcast.com's links page also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
And
just,
anytime you get awareness to something that's specifically so rare, it hopefully will create some funding.
yeah, just more research and funding, and just that, again, that it may reach someone that may be going through that journey and didn't know. Um,
Yeah. Is it
now they
classified
know.
as an autoimmune disease then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Are you concerned about this new presidency and the slashes to Medicare and Medicaid, to all the disability programs that they're talking about?
It is. It's very scary to think, what is being threatened, and I just hope it doesn't happen. It just hopefully we can have a backup. I really don't know what the backup plan is, but it is very scary to think, because then that could affect my treatment plans, which I know I wouldn't be able to afford.
Yeah,
I know there are some financial services, but it's just so many things out there that are resources that are going to be cut, and no one's going to be able to afford them. So it's scary, and I just hope for the best. That's all I could, do, and just reach out to our senators or just important people and let them know that we're human. There's lives are really being affected.
absolutely. Absolutely. Alex, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time as well. Thank you. Thank you for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Rate, review, and subscribe to Hey Human Podcast on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Bye.